Hey guys, so I got quite a few books for Christmas and then I also went to the Barnes& Noble hardback sale. So I thought I would show you guys all the books that I got. So let's go ahead and get into all the books. So the first book I got for Christmas is Funny You Should Ask by Alyssa Sussman. And this is about a writer who's brought in to do a interview of like her celebrity crush, and they end up hitting it off and they have this like amazing weekend together. And then it cuts to like 10 years later, she's recently divorced and she's moved back to LA. And the PR team for her celeb crush that she interviewed 10 years ago wants her to do a second interview. And they kind of come back together and it's like a second chance romance. And I'm really excited to read this one. And the next book I got is Weather Girl by Rachel Lynn Solomon. And this is, from what I've heard, it's kind of like The Setup, which is a Netflix movie. And it's about a TV meteorologist and a sports reporter who team up to get their bosses back together, and they end up like falling in love in the process. And she's described as this like super sunshiny kind of person, and he's sweet but reserved. So I'm very excited to read this one. I think it's going to be a really good read, and I've heard good things about Rachel Lynn Solomon's book, so I'm excited for this one. Next, I have The Worst Best Man by Mia Sosa, and this is about a wedding planner who gets left at the altar, and then she has to work with her, like the best man that was in her wedding. She has to work with him on some like hotel projects. He's like a marketing expert. And the thing is, the best man actually convinced his brother to leave her at the altar. So there's that whole animosity between them, but they end up having like sparks kind of fly off of them. So I'm very excited to read this. I think it's going to be very interesting. And I love kind of an enemies to lovers romance. That's one of my favorite book tropes. So this one I am definitely going to be reading soon. Next, I also got Love in the Time of Serial Killers by Alicia Thompson. And this is about a girl. She's obsessed with true crime and she's actually writing her dissertation about it. And when her father dies, she moves back into her childhood home to like clean everything out. And while she's there, she thinks her neighbor is like a serial killer. But like through like kind of like investigating him, she kind of like falls in love with him. So I think this is going to be a super fun book. I mean, I like the true crime aspect, especially with like only murders in the building got me really into true crime. So I'm excited to have a little dash of that in this book. Then I got A Million Kisses in Your Lifetime by Monica Murphy, and I actually read this on Kindle Unlimited, but I wanted to get the paperback because I like reading paperbacks and marking them up with my little notes. And this is set in a boarding school, and it's also like a good girl, bad boy kind of romance. They're super rich, like he owns the school, and he's like kind of like the bad boy who's always getting into trouble. And then she's the girl who's like always like kept to herself, like, you know, she stays out of all the trouble, and she like comes like, they don't get along. Like he thinks he hates her, but really he's obsessed with her, and he ends up kind of like, you know, not like corrupting her, but like, she like learns to live more through him. Then this book I have been wanting for such a long time, and it's The Atlas 6 by Olivia Blake. And I've heard everyone talking about this book, so it was definitely on my Christmas list, and I got it for Christmas. And it's about a group of magicians who are selected to like fight for a spot in this like society, the Alexandrian Society. It's like a big society of magicians, and I just really like the concept. I haven't read many books about magicians, so I'm super excited for that. And on the back it says 6 of the most devious, talented, and flawed characters to ever find themselves in a magical library. This book is half mystery, half puzzle, and wholly a delight, and that's by Holly Black. And if Holly Black likes it, I have a feeling I'm gonna like it because I love Holly Black's work. So I'm super excited to dive into this book. So then Barnes & Noble was doing their end of the year hardback sale. So I went and I got a few books. And first I got The Atlas Paradox, which is the sequel to The Atlas 6 by Olivia Blake. And I got this because I figured I might as well get it while it's half off. And also it's the Barnes & Noble exclusive edition. And I just think this is just so pretty. And if you like look on the inside, it has just all these really pretty, like this like pretty illustration. And I just think they're so pretty. And I'm super excited to have this on my bookshelf just because it's so pretty. So then while I was at Barnes & Noble, I got a couple of memoirs because I just really like to read about people and their lives. So the first one I got is Tom Felton's Beyond the Wand, and this is like talking about his life after starring in the Harry Potter franchise. And I am a huge Tom Felton fan, and I just was I'm also hoping there's like little bits of Harry Potter secrets kind of dashed in there. So I'm really excited to read this one. And then I also got I'm Glad My Mom Died by Jeanette Curdy because I've heard everyone raving about it. And I just think her story is just really interesting about how her mom essentially was like living through her and she like never really wanted the life that she had. So I'm really excited to hear this one. And then lastly, I got Born to Shine, and this is Kendra Scott's memoir. I got this because I'm a huge fan of Kendra Scott's brand and all her jewelry, and I'm just really interested to learn about how her company came to be. So those are the memoirs that I got from Barnes & Noble. I also got The First to Die at the End by Adam Silvera, and this is the prequel to The Both Die at the End. And I got this because I wanted to have both of them when I started the series, and it was also the Barnes & Noble exclusive edition, so I wanted to get it while it was half off. And I'm really excited to read this because every video I've like seen about this book, everyone loves it and says it's like super emotional, and so I'm really excited to have this, that way I can read it when I read the original book. So I'm super excited for this. So I also got a very raved about series, and this is by, I think it's pronounced Toshikazu Kawaguchi, and it's the Before the Coffee Gets Cold series. And I got the first one, Before the Coffee Gets Cold, and then I have the second, Tales from the Cafe, and then I have the third, Before Your Memory Fades. And these books are about these group of people who like come into this cafe, and I think it's set in Tokyo, and it just kind of goes through like their experience. And I think there's like some time travel aspects involved. So I'm really excited to like dive into those books because I've heard a lot of good things about them. The last book I got is What Moves the Dead by T. Kingfisher, and I believe this is like gothic fiction. On the inside of the sleeve, they compared it to Edgar Allan Poe's The House of the Fall of Usher, and it's about a retired soldier who comes home and hears that his childhood friend is dying, so he goes to like the house of his dying friend. And while he's there, he notices there's a bunch of fungus growing all over everything, and all the animals are possessed, and there's just a bunch of strange things going on. So this book just sounds really just interesting. I think it's going to be kind of like a horror mystery kind of in a way, and this will be a nice easy read too. It's not very long either. But yeah, that is the last book I got from the Barnes & Noble little hardback sale. So those are all the books I got for Christmas and for the Barnes & Noble sale. I'm pretty set up for 2023. My TBR is huge now, so I'm really excited to get into the new year and read a bunch of books.